One of the most common questions that I get when it comes to sports cards is, when is the best time to buy a specific player's card? And of course, there's several correct answers to that. If we knew the future, then of course, whenever their market is lowest, right? Obviously, that's not the case, and we don't know the future. So essentially, the best time to purchase a player's card is when their market is lowest, right? What does that mean, and how do we find that time? The unfun side of that is essentially when the player doesn't have hype. And that's not very fun, right? You know, when a player does something crazy and fun and exciting, we want to buy their card then. But that is the worst time to buy a player's card. And the reason why is because, of course, everyone's thinking the same thing. So everyone starts to go out there and try to buy their cards, which makes their market shoot up. That is not the time to purchase a player's card. When is there no hype on a player? Essentially when they're not playing well. And that's another one where it's like, well, I don't want to, do I want to go collect this person's card if they're not playing well? Probably not for most, for some, possibly. And so there is one other time, which of course we don't wish this upon any player ever, but there is one time that causes their hype to disappear and doesn't require them to play poorly. And that is injuries. When a player gets injured, and I'm not talking about a week or two on the IL. I'm talking about a serious injury that's going to be, multiple months or maybe even season ending, and we're gonna miss them for about a year. And it happens every time, and it happens to any player. In fact, the example we're going to use shows how true it is that injuries cause every player's market to come down. Hello there, my friend. Shohei Ohtani is who we're going to use for this example. Of course, he's not the only player to ever have a season-ending injury. He has had two, which is why, one, I wanted to use him because if there's anybody that would be immune to having their market drop, would be him. But even Shohei Ohtani is not immune to the injury market drop when it comes to the sports card side of things. Let's hop in and check those out. He's had two big injuries, one in 2018, and then the other, of course, at the end of 2023, his last year with the Angels, right before he had signed with the Dodgers. So we're going to hop in and look at what happened to his car market when he got injured in 2018 and 2023, and I think that you'll see exactly what I'm talking about. Okay, so looking at 2018 first. So what happened? On June 8th, 2018, he was diagnosed with a grade 2 UCL sprain that required surgery, of course, ending that season. And he didn't even end up pitching in 2019 either. He did DH, which is what helped his market start to come back up. But as soon as that injury happened, he stopped playing. Boom. It's so incredibly obvious what happened there in June of 2018. The very next month, a massive, massive drop, of course, to his market. And didn't start recovering until he came back and started playing again in May, because he didn't even start right off the bat DHing. It was about a month or two in. So that's injury number one. Obvious. Now you could say 2018, of course, that was his rookie year. Did he, it's early on in his season. He wasn't really truly the Shohei that he's become, which is a 3-time MVP, right? At that point, he was just a unicorn. He was, hopefully going to be the next Babe Ruth, being a hitter and pitcher, of course, playing both sides of the ball. But it was his first year. So you could say, it's not the same thing. Well, let's go to 2023. And there we have 2023 and that injury. And of course, the big difference for 2023 is now he's already a multiple MVP winner. And he's just finishing up another MVP season and going into signing a truly historic contract with the Dodgers. He had plenty of hype in the sense of course, not that he was playing well because he wasn't playing, but plenty of hype just being on every single broadcast almost 24/7, talking about where was he going to sign, right? How much is he going to sign for? All the speculation going into that. But even with that, with his injury, he still had an absolutely massive drop in that market. What happened in 2023? That's where he had the UCL tear, which of course, yes, did require surgery as well. Basically a very similar thing to 2018. Had to get surgery on his elbow, came back and DH'd the next year. Didn't pitch. And now he's just now, of course, starting to pitch again. And that was, of course, him going into his first season as a Dodger. He was about to win his first World Series. He was about to create the 50-50 club, which, of course, we didn't know those things were happening. But at this point, like I said, he was already a multiple MVP winner and in the process of signing a massively historic contract. But it just goes to show that even a player like Shohei Ohtani, when it comes to an injury, their market drops. It's just the way that it is. Obviously, like I said, do we ever want to wish an injury upon a player? Well, some people, yes, if you're talking about their rival. Me, never. Never, even if it's a player I don't like, do I ever want them to be injured. But if it is your favorite player who just got injured, you're probably sad, rightfully so, but you can find solace in the fact that, hey, wait about a week or two, in some instances about a month, and then go pick up their cards. Because we see it with so many players. Ronald Acuna is another example of someone who right after his MVP season, if we all remember in like the first week or two, blew out his knee, missed the rest of the season, and then he just came back about a month and a half ago. But the same thing happened to his market. So, when is the best time to buy a card? Well, either one, when a player is playing bad, which is not a fun time to buy a card, or when they get injured. So, don't wish for your player to get injured, but maybe have a little bit of funds set aside for the day that it does possibly happen, and go pick up some of those big PC cards maybe you've been looking for. Because even a player as special as Shohei Ohtani, we see what happens with their market. There you have it. Peace.